Hello everyone watching. Welcome to this tutorial. This video is mostly for a friend who is having some difficulty reading stuff. But if you are new to guitar, or if you know someone who's new to guitar and you find this video helpful, then this is also for you, I guess. Basically what I'm going to be teaching you guys today is how to read this stuff. Basically chord charts. Let's see. First thing you need to know is that this solid line up here represents the nut on the guitar. And then of course your vertical and horizontal lines represent your strings and your frets. The vertical ones obviously will be the strings, and well, I should say the space in between the horizontal lines represents your frets. So between the nut and that first horizontal line, that's your first fret. And then, oh yeah, one more thing. Very common mistake that some people make when trying to differentiate tablature and chord charts is that the numbers on chord diagrams are not the same as tablature. The numbers on chord charts will represent your fingers, whereas on tablature it represents what fret. I will not be teaching tablature in this video. I have a video which I'll put in the link down below, or just put it on the screen somewhere so you guys can click or whatever if you want to learn how to read tablature. But this is just going to be solely for chord diagrams. So basically your index finger is going to represent 1, or 1 is going to represent your index finger, 2 is going to be your middle finger, 3 and 4 pinky or ring and pinky finger. So, for example, for our first chord here, oh yeah, one more thing. The lines that represent your strings is going to be like so. The one at the very left is going to be your top string, which is your top E string or your low-pitched E string. If you get confused, what you can also do is you can just take your chart, take your guitar, put them side by side while looking at them, and each one of those strings will be representing, or I'm sorry, each one of those lines will represent the corresponding string, as if you were looking at it like that. So that's another way you can determine how it is. It might take a little bit for you to get used to looking at it and then kind of being able to mirror it, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. Just practice. So I'm going to help you with that. So while I'm here, let's go ahead and try and do this A chord. So as you can see, for the A chord, it says to use your second, third, and fourth finger. This is just the preferred way, I guess. You could use your first, second, and third. I play an A with those fingers that are actually here because I think it's easier, and at the same time you get a little bit of practice building strength with your weaker fingers, especially your pinky. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So 2 is going to be obviously your middle finger, and it's going to be on the 4th string on the 2nd fret. And the last thing I need to tell you guys is, on guitar, the bottom string, the high-pitched E string, is string number 1. And then of course it just goes up. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is the proper way that you identify strings by number, is starting from the bottom. So for here, this one all the way in the left is going to be your top E string, so you know that that's 6. So if you subtract 2, obviously, to go to where this first one is, that's going to be your 4th string. So let's find our 4th string here. So if you start at the top, that's 6, 5, and then 4. This is 4, so then you want to bring it down to find your 2nd fret with your middle finger. And right there, the note should sound like this. Now the cool thing about the A is that each one of your fingers is going to be on the same fret on the next string down, basically. So, without really having to use the diagram, so you've got your middle finger here. I'll scoot in so you guys can see it better. Middle finger here on your 4th string, 2nd fret. All you're basically going to do is bring it up a little bit so that way you can bring your other 2 fingers in, but your 2 fingers are going to go on the same fret, 1 string down. So your ring finger is going to go on the 3rd string on the same fret, and your pinky is going to go on the 2nd string on the same fret, just like so. And basically, it should sound like this. Or if you play it if you play the top string, technically you don't want to do that. In a chord, you want to start the chord with the same. The first note in the chord should be the same note as the chord, basically. So this is an A. So if you start here, that's proper. If you start the chord on another note, which in this case would be an E, this would technically be an A over E. But that's more technical stuff. If you guys have any questions about that, you can ask me about it and I'll explain it in another video. Now as far as the grip on the back, you'll sometimes see people like where you can literally see their thumb like up here. That's kind of a more experienced thing. I don't recommend it if you're starting. I more recommend that you put your thumb about the middle and then kind of more like upward on the guitar, kind of like between, sort of, because you want to make sure that your fingers have the ability to arc properly, so that way you can press the strings down without muting some of the other strings and all that stuff. Once you get good, you can do stuff like that. It doesn't really, it's more for looks, I guess. I don't know, because it doesn't really help you in any way. And then the last thing I need you to go over are bar chords. So for example, those are going to be, for your basic major chords, your bar chords are going to be B and F. So you can see here B and F. Now I'm going to use one more just to kind of show you. Okay, like this A7, this is technically a bar chord. Most bar chords will look like they'll have the little arc kind of going across. That'll be your typical. But sometimes you'll see chords like this where they have ones or any other finger that just go across a couple of frets. Basically just how that goes is the finger that it says to use, you're just gonna put it on those strings, and in that one's case you're supposed to be on the 2nd fret and you're barring your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string, and then you're bringing your 2nd finger here. I would personally use my ring finger, it's a little bit easier. But so you're barring those 3 chords with 1 finger. And then of course in cases like B, your major B, where that art covers, all the space that art covers to where it ends, all of that is what you're going to bar. So for a B, you're barring basically 1 through 5 with your index finger, and then you're putting down these other fingers. For these chords, I highly recommend that you start with all the other majors besides B and F, so A, C, D, E, and G, to build your callus and your strength in your hands. And then once you get pretty good at that, then I'd say you can try and tackle those bar chords. Another thing, if you can't do this with B and F, but if you have a chord that you have to bar and it only has 2 other notes, or I recommend that you use your middle finger to kind of clamp down on top of your index finger to kind of give you a little bit of extra strength. And then of course, depending on what you're playing, like for example, this is an F, but an F minor, you take off that middle finger, so you can help your index finger to play an F minor, and you can kind of just give your index finger a little bit of extra support to kind of help you build that muscle and that grip. Aside from that, I think that's pretty much everything. So that's how you read that. And if you want to learn how to read tablature, like I said, I'll put the link in the description below or on the screen. I'll figure it out later. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, just let me know. And until next time, stay classy.